Susu, what's your name? Monsters at the movies.
He's got one foot in the frying pan and one in the pressure cooker. Believe me, as a bowler, I know that right about now, your bladder feels like an overstuffed vacuum cleaner bag, and your butt is kind of like an about-to-explode bratwurst.
Hey, do you mind? I wasn't talking when you were bowling.
Was I talking out loud?
Welcome to Munsons at the Movies. My name is Kyle. I'll once again be your host. Joined by the rest of the Munsons. Want to give them a wide berth.
What is called a born loser? A real Munson.
And talk a little bit about what's going on in their world. This time we'll start with James.
Little Chris Pine Jr. is on summer vacation this week. And so she's with her grandparents. And because of that, I've gotten to watch a ton of Tim Robbins movies, including a full 2 seasons of Silo. I don't know if I've done anything productive late at night other than that, but it has made me feel guilt-free watching these movies.
It's dedication.
We're proud of you.
Yeah, I feel that.
That's why I'm here.
Case, what about you?
I want to congratulate Chris Pine on becoming my favorite Chris. A couple weeks after the podcast, my YouTube feed showed me a podcast with Rick Rubin called The Tetragrammaton or with Rick Rubin or something like this. And it was part interview, part therapy, pretty much part acid trip. And I love the hell of it. I was very pleased with it. After that, I came away going, he's the best Chris, for sure. But as you guys recently found out, I do have a very interesting highlight in life. I was contacted because of this podcast by an advertising agency looking for actors for a shoe commercial. I don't know, I might be going to Hollywood pretty soon. We'll see. I got to get an agent first. I think that's what I'm supposed to do is get an agent and then an entourage, and then I'm set.
Just remember me when you make it.
Will do.
That's pretty cool. I could be your turtle.
When we make a lot of money because of that, we're going to be very reckless with it.
Case, I think you're a shoe-in for the role.
Oh my God.
I mean, I got super flat feet, though. I shouldn't put that out there, but...
No.
You missed the shoe-in pun that he was...
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah. No. No, it's his bad.
Well played, sir.
He's got it all tied up.
Oh, my God.
Aubrey, how about you?
I've been lucky enough to watch a ton of things. Addington is my favorite movie of the year. I've been thinking about that movie a lot. Fantastic Four is cool. But the one main highlight was there was something I learned about that's been going on for a little while called Art House Theater Day that I had never heard of. So Josh, former guest on the podcast,
Great guest,
invited me to go to the Enzanin Theater in Orlando, a small little independent theater out here that I've been to a bunch of times. They do the Florida Film Festival to watch the 10th anniversary of one of my favorite directors' early films, Tangerine. By Sean Baker, is outstanding. I've already seen the movie before. It was cool to go back and see it like on the big screen. And there was a Q&A with Sean Baker at the end. It was really dope to see a movie like Tangerine with a bunch of people who were game, but didn't really know what they signed up for. And if you've seen Tangerine, then you'll kind of understand. There's a lot of people that saw Nora and were like, oh, I'm going to watch more Sean Baker things. And then you see Tangerine, and while Honora is like shocking at points, it is not Tangerine.
No, for sure not.
Tangerine is it's a ride, but he's an incredible filmmaker.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I could talk about something lame like how I played baseball and hockey yesterday and my knees are falling apart and I feel like I'm 57 years old. But what I will say is I had a transformational moment yesterday, and we're going to talk about it today. And that transformational moment was I experienced Howard the Duck for the first time.
That boy.
I'm changed forever. It's imprinted on my soul. I saw things I'll never forget. Strap in. It's going to be a foul time.
The only thing I'm interested in this review that you have of this is explaining to me why people like it. That's the only thing I'm interested in.
I don't know if I got that for you, Aubrey.
Because they're quackers.
Oh, jeez. Is this what we're doing today?
Bunch of quacks. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to welcome back one of our favorite guests, which is Laura Bennecke. She's a film nerd who loves Star Wars, the bears, sword fighting, gardening, and animals. She's also a SAG actor and stunt woman. For a brief time, she worked in casting. She's a proud mom of 3 strong and gorgeous daughters and works a day job at a big bank. She joined us previously for The Gary Cole, Bonnie Hunt, J-Lo, Jim Belushi, Mila Kunis, and Michelle Williams episodes. Welcome back to the pod.
Woohoo!
Woo!
I've been asked to take on some additional SAG duties, similar to what I've done in past years for the Screen Actors Guild. So I'm very excited about that. Between now and February, I'll be going to California a lot, watching a lot of movies with my kids. So I get to take one guest, so it'll be great.
Very cool.
On like one of the first episodes I did on your podcast, someone reached out to you, and that turned out to be a casting director that I knew a long time ago. And he reached out just recently asking if I would submit an audition tape for a short film for the Utah Film Festival. It was going to be to play the mom of a potential killer. And I was so excited about the role, and the sides looked great. But the only problem was it was non-union, and they didn't have the right paperwork for the SAG exception. So I passed on it this time, but I told them, please keep me in mind for future project. But it was so exciting to see the sides and, to be asked to audition. So it was a lot of fun.
Out of your integrity. How about that?
Very cool. Laura, do you take it as a compliment when a director reaches out to you and says, you would be the perfect mom for a serial killer?
I did, actually. I did.
All
Because
right.
it was a real juicy part. And I played a lot of crazy parts.
Yeah.
Those are the more juicy parts. Who wants to be the good mom all the time,
I love that.
I take issue with Kyle saying that you are one of our favorite guests because you are my favorite guest and the best guest that we've ever had. No offense to everyone else. Respectfully, I say that.
My sister might finally listen to another episode now that you're on, so I'm grateful for that.
If I wasn't related to one of the guests, I'd say the same thing.
Also named Laura, so
True.
important.
True.
Yeah, don't get in trouble with Laura's.
Laura, happy to have you back. Excited to have you chat a little Tim Robbins with us, and let's get going. All right, birthdays, August 7th. I've got 4 birthdays today because there were some great names. It was going to be hard to just cut one of these. So we got 4. First and foremost, we have Munson's favorite, Charlize Theron, in things like The Old Guard, Mad Max, Fast and Furious, obviously, Bombshell, Tully, Longshot, Atomic Blonde, Prometheus, Monster, The Italian Job, Legend of Bagger Vance, Mighty Joe Young, Devil's Advocate, The Yards, That Thing You Do, and Hancock. How old is Charlize Theron?
And The Old Guard 2, which I didn't even know came out, but is actually out. One of the biggest Munson's flex ever is we know you like to put in the terrible movies that they've been in. You just kept naming dope movies.
Yeah, it's hard to do with her.
I put Hancock at the end. That was all I could muster on that one.
I can admit, I enjoyed Hancock, most of it.
Yeah, no, I'll fight for that.
Yeah.
We all know that James is going to get this dead on, right? You said Munson's favorite, but we know who you really meant.
Yeah.
Listen, this woman's life is insane. Anytime I need to pull a fact that everyone goes, holy shit, is that true? It's a Charlize Theron fact. She has lived the craziest life.
How many years are in that life, though, James? That's what I want to know.
I bet she's older than she looks because she looks incredible. I'm going to say 49.
I am just blown away by how one human being can fit that many great roles into a 20-year life.
Child acting. It's very real.
Like, that's a prolific amount of work. Does she do anything else?
She was like 4 in Legend of Bagger Vance. So that's crazy.
Even more problematic.
I'm going to go 58.
Give me 45.
I'm going to give you an L, a big fat L, because James gets it. She's turning 50 on August 7th.
Nice.
Shocking that James got that right.
All right, next up we have David Duchovny, known for things like X-Files, Evolution, Californication, Aquarius, Zoolander, Return to Me, Red Shoe Diaries, Chaplin, Beethoven, and Baby Snatcher, a TV movie from 1992. How old is David Duchovny?
Deep cuts. Give me 60.
That's what I was going to guess. Twins.
That's a good guess.
Double down.
He's a hand jockey. He's not like the Face and Body Boys. So, Aubrey, what we're doing is we're referencing the movie Zoolander. I know you're not a huge fan of it, but that is what the joke is from. Ah, man, 60 is a good one. So I was going to say 58, but he got it in first, and it just feels like I'm cheating now if I say a different age.
Someone asked me about Zoolander just this week. They just said, "Oh, I've never seen that. Should I watch it?" And I go, "Absolutely not. It's terrible." 55 is my guess.
You're going to get a big fat L as well because he's turning 65. So Laura/Case combined victory there.
Yes.
All right, next up, Wayne Knight from Seinfeld, Jurassic Park, Dirty Dancing, Space Jam. He was fixing a divot. Rat Race, To Die For, Basic Instinct, and a whole bunch of TV. How old is Wayne Knight?
His role in Basic Instinct is hilarious.
Love him in Jurassic Park.
Got to say the magic word.
I'm going 64.
You know what? Great mind. 64.
No clue.
Trying to put together how old he was in Jurassic Park. 67.
I like how you show your work. You show the calculation, how you got to 67.
He's one of those dudes that I've only known him when he was middle-aged, and that was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
72.
He's turning 70, so I believe Aubrey is going to get that W this time. Lots of L's for everybody else. Everybody's won at this point, right? So let's tie-break this thing. Michael Shannon, The Bike Riders, The Snyderverse, Knives Out, Shape of Water, 8 Mile, Loving, Elvis and Nixon, Night Before, The Iceman, Mud, Take Shelter, Midnight Special, Groundhog Day, and Vanilla Sky. How old is Michael Shannon?
He was in Groundhog Day?
Michael Shannon's in Groundhog?
Yeah, makes an appearance.
Well, that's a critical clue.
I don't have any idea.
I'm going to go 67.
55.
That's pretty good. 50?
He can't be 55. I don't know.
52.
All right, you're all over. So do you want to try this again?
48.
Oh, shit.
49.
47.
Laura, you got a final guess?
Whatever the right answer is. That's mine.
Good answer. Good answer.
That's not going to float 122 episodes in. I don't know about that, Laura. It sounds like you're abstaining from a second guess, a little bonus guess.
54.
He's turning 49, so James with part D gets that correct.
Nice. I knew it all along.
He just looks old.
Yeah.
Like he's got an old style face. But when Case said 67, I had to like re-Google it. I was like, wait, did I get that wrong?
You're like, am I wrong?
Wow.
All right, happy birthday to them and anybody else with a birthday on August 7th. Episode 122. Actors that we threw under the wheel were Patty Considine, Carrie Illis, Lynn Shay, and Michael Madsen, but it doesn't matter because the wheel selected Tim Robbins, and Laura decided to come hang out with us to talk Tim Robbins. Tim's got 78 acting credits, 13 producing credits, 12 directing credits, 4 writing, and he's got a little bit of theater in his early days. So Tim is pretty prolific across the entertainment space. But before we get into the roles we love, the roles we hate, the things that are memorable, the ones that, holy crap, I didn't even realize he was in, we always start with a little actor trivia to see if James can stump us Fast and Furious style.
Everyone here is part of the initiated. You guys have heard many times over the rules, but for Aubrey's students at home who are first-time listeners trying to get extra credit.
And the Hollywood elite.
And that's true. And the Hollywood elite and Prudential shoe sponsors. I'm going to read off 3 facts here, 2 of which are true about Tim Robbins, 1 of which is not true about Tim Robbins, but is true about one of the many illustrious cast members of the Fast and Furious franchise. Everyone here is going to have to guess which fact that is. Fact number 1. In addition to acting, he's also a musician who has self-produced and released music under his own name, which has currently earned him over 28,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. Fact number 2. Is credited with discovering the actor Jack Black, having recruited him to join his acting troupe in college and giving him his first major role. Fact number 3. Was blacklisted from the Baseball Hall of Fame for his political beliefs.
Jesus.
Wow.
Those are good ones.
I'm going to get in early. It's obviously number 3, and it's Ludacris.
Yeah, that's a fair guess.
Incredibly outspoken, politically ludicrous, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aubrey, I think you're onto something. I think it's Lie 3 as well, but I don't think it's Ludacris. I think it's the actor that continually came up on my Tim Robbins Google searches, which is actually Tim Robinson. Tim Robinson has been blacklisted by baseball.
I think you should leave Tim Robinson. Made it into the Fast and Furious verse. Is that what you're saying?
I assume. I mean, everybody else is in it.
Casey just rebelled against this game. And Kyle's running a loose enough ship that Kyle's just letting this happen.
Case is going to case. What can you do? I wanted to point to maybe it's Jack Black's relationship with The Rock for fact 2, but then James dropped fact 3 on me, and I can't not bite at that one. And I think it's truly entertaining to think that blacklisted Lucas Black preemptively, knowing he was in 42 as the shortstop, and he was so bad at baseball, and they knew he was going to say some out-of-pocket Southern shit, and they're like, just blacklist him now before we don't need that PR issue down the road.
Get ahead of it. I get it. I like that. Good strategy.
Well, because of my extensive research, I know number 3 is not true.
Oh.
But I honestly don't know who on the Fast and Furious it is. I don't know.
Based off of all the times James has done this, it's going to be Charlize, and my mind's going to melt. It makes no sense.
Well, all right. So no one picked fact number 2. So I'll start there. He's credited with discovering Jack Black, having recruited him to his acting troupe in college, giving him his first major role. That is true. Jack Black, his first acting job. So it sounds like someone caught wind of this and was like, let me write in how Jack Black actually his first acting role, which was he was in a commercial at the age of 13 for a video game. But the rest of the story goes that when he went to college at UCLA, he was recruited by Tim Robbins to join his acting troupe, which was called the Actors Gang, which appeared in a variety of stage productions. A lot of them were kind of political satire. After college, Jack Black got a couple of like pilot roles, but none of them got picked up. And so he was known in the biz because you can't miss that energy. But he didn't have any major roles. And it wasn't until he got his first major role in Bob Roberts that Tim Robbins actually gave to him that he started getting consistent work. The two of them are like great friends today, and they've actually been in 3 movies together. Laura, you'd mentioned fact number 3 not being true. That's partially because I left out that it was only temporarily true. In 2003, Tim Robbins was blacklisted from the Baseball Hall of Fame for his political beliefs. That was the 15th anniversary of Bull Durham, and the Baseball Hall of Fame was going to have a celebration because that movie rocks. But Tim Robbins and Susan Sarandon are not two which bite their tongue when it comes to their political beliefs. And they were pretty outspoken about being anti the war in Iraq.
Yeah.
And in a move that had not taken place ever prior, the Baseball Hall of Fame took a political stance other than fuck Barry Bonds, which is like the only thing they've ever taken a stance against. And they said, oh, you guys, we're canceling the event because the anti-war claim undermines the U.S.'s position and potentially endangers American troops in Iraq, to which everyone in baseball said, what the fuck are you talking about? And they issued an apology. It was actually so bad that Kevin Costner's co-star, Bull Durham, came out and defended Robbins and Sarandon, stating, I think this is the type of courage that makes our democracy work. And pulling an invite kind of goes against the whole principle of what we profess to be about. Tim Robbins was a little bit more blunt and was like, I didn't realize baseball was a Republican sport. And then everyone's like, yeah, we should stop talking about it because it's embarrassing for this sport, which continues to embarrass itself.
You mixed half-truths into these. You are sneaky.
Yes. I mean, I have to at this point. Everyone here is well-versed on not necessarily Tim Robbins facts, but Fast and the Furious facts, right? They're going to be like, well, that's clearly ludicrous or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson at this point. And so I have to somehow put in there a way to get people off the scent.
Shenanigans, sir.
Yeah, which is going to come true here as well in fact number 1. So in addition to acting, Tim Robbins is also a musician, and he has self-produced and released music under his own name. However, it didn't earn him 28K monthly listeners. He released a folk rock album in 2010. As you'd guess, it's pretty introspective and world-weary themes. He even toured Europe, but Tim is not really into technology, so my assumption is he doesn't really give a shit about Spotify. So Tim only has 249 monthly listeners, which is what we in the business call Munson numbers. But this fact is actually regarding the 28K monthly listeners that the man, the myth, the legend himself, Vin Diesel, has, despite only ever putting out 2 total songs. Yes, he has a ton of listeners and 2 songs.
And Tim's band is the Rogue Gallery Band, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And they're pretty good, too. I listen to their music. They're good. It's just clear, he's like, I'm not trying to get streams here. I don't give a shit about that stuff. My guess is someone else put his band's stuff on Spotify, and it's not even him.
He comes from a long line of musicianship in that family there, James, so it doesn't shock me at all.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance they tour with the Sharks and he spends time with Dennis Quaid?
I don't think they see eye to eye politically these days, Case.
Yes, my guess is those two aren't close friends. That's my guess. Yeah.
Well, I just thought music was bringing them together.
Both pretty outspoken about their political beliefs. Yeah.
Thanks, James. Appreciate you.
Of course.
All right, Case, what do we got for a box office snapshot?
Tim Robbins has had a pretty substantial presence in the Hollywood scene between the 80s and just before 2020. There are a couple of interesting standouts from his career. This is the first time that we've looked at Top Gun. And upon further review, I was shocked to see that Top Gun has one of the best return on investment rates that we've looked at. Based on nearly 3,500 movies, Top Gun ranks 14th in return on investment, making $357 million against a $15 million budget. I was shocked that only had a $15 million budget. Second, he has done pretty well with critics throughout his career. 17 of his films have scored a critic ranking of 70% or higher, which is nearly 75% of his movies. On the negative side, however, he has a movie that has lost the 16th most of anything that we've looked at, and that's the gem, The Truth About Charlie, which lost $52.9 million. And that movie headlines a list of 8 other movies that lost $10 million or more. So he has probably had more success than failures, but he is not without some of his losses. So that being said, here are the numbers for Robbins. Average budget, he comes ranked 95th with $26.9 million. Total box office, 81st with $2.1 billion. Star meter, 72nd, ranking 1222 at the time of recording. Critic, which is his high mark, at 26th with 63.1% of critic approval. Fan ranking, pretty good at 39th, 61.7%. And he's 103 and 14 in the 2 different box office metrics we look at, which gives him an overall ranking of 43.
I'm not as shocked by his numbers being all over the place because that is kind of how I pictured him when I think of him as an actor, where you're like, yes, very accomplished. Is the leading man star power there? Maybe not as much as it once was. Maybe not those specific numbers, but I did kind of see the kind of scatter plot coming.
Yeah, it feels about right. Nothing really stands out in that to me, past Top Gun being made for $15 million.
Crazy, right?
It seems wrong. I can't fathom how that happens.
Yeah, I mean, either. The movie Twister that he did in 1989, IMDb's reporting that of having a budget of $92 million. So I had to do some extra research and discover that that's actually the budget for the Twister.
Wrong Twister.
From the 90s. And so I had to double check multiple times, does Top Gun really have a $15 million budget? And forays into that topic says yes.
AppleTV almost tricked me.
Yeah, when you search Apple TV for Tim Robbins, that is the second thing that comes up is that Twister.
It almost got me.
Yeah.
I was about to watch it just anyways.
It had Harry Dean Stanton from Night Court. That intrigued me enough that I wanted to watch it, but I didn't want to pay for it.
Is it about tornadoes? Or is it about board games?
No, it's not about either. It's about a family that's having problems, and they're in Kansas during a tornado trying to get it all sorted out.
So it sounds like it's about tornadoes.
Yeah.
Wait, is it about tornadoes or does a tornado just happen?
There's a tornado happening.
It's the backdrop. It's not the main villain.
I'm so glad I didn't watch that.
The villain is neglect in that story, Aubrey, and then the tornado is just what finishes them off by the end.
You try to lure me in with a giant tornado just to tell me about... No, I would have railed against that.
Thanks, Case.
Yeah, man.
So a little of early Tim Robbins' life. So we're going to call his first major role in 1985. So everything before that. First and foremost, born in West Covina in 1958 and raised in New York City. I had forgotten about West Covina since the last time I saw Blue Streak, but I was reminded of West Covina in there. Lifelong Mets fan. So 2 episodes in a row where we've brought a fan of the Mets, hell, even probably the Jets at the forefront.
Listen, if he was a Jets fan, he would have said he was a Jets fan. Putting someone as a Jets fan who hasn't outright claimed they are a Jets fan is inappropriate.
It's unethical.
Yes, it's truly just not the proper thing to do to someone. And so I will not burden him with that responsibility. Yeah.
Just torture.
Diehard Mets fan. That is correct. And Rangers fan. Big hockey guy as well.
Really?
His dad was in the Highwaymen, a folk group there in the 50s and 60s. So comes from a family of musicians.
Moving to Greenwich Village, that was like where the young folk music scene was. And now it's like one of the most expensive parts of New York City, but it was cheap and it was mostly like hipster artists. And so that doesn't necessarily mean it was nice. It's now nice. It was just cheap.
Isn't that where Bob Dylan got his start in like that area?
That's correct.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he started his first acting he started doing theater at age 12, joined drama club in high school. So from 12 to 17, 18 is where he started doing the acting thing. He is probably the first Munson in 122 episodes who went to a SUNY school. James, do you remember any others who went to a SUNY school? I can't recall.
Did Tucci go to a SUNY school?
State of New York system, very, very proud of Tim Robbins' 2 years at Plattsburgh there. You got to imagine they are. But then he transferred to UCLA to do film school there and got his Bachelor of Fine Arts in Drama in 1981.
Another fun fact that I saw in an interview he did was that even though his parents were both musicians and they exposed them to the arts, they took them to Shakespeare in the Park, they didn't have a TV in their house.
Oh.
They thought it was bad for their education.
Oh.
So it's kind of interesting that he became an actor when there wasn't even a TV in the house.
That's called teenage rebellion, Laura, and I'm sure you know a little bit about that over at the household.
Subscribing to the David Arquette method of being raised.
He told a story, I think it was on Conan or one of the talk shows, about how he used to be a pizza delivery driver in LA, early 20s, late teens. But to James's point, he joined the Actors Gang, which was an experimental theater group in LA, alongside, I believe, a guy he played softball with and John Cusack, among others. And that's probably why you see him in High Fidelity with Cusack a few years later, too, because they were on a similar trajectory.
You know these people as these like huge celebrities, but to think of it from like all of our college experiences and then to be like, oh yeah, how do you guys know each other? Be like, oh, he was our absolute liability on defense second baseman, but you know him as Academy Award winning actor Tim Robbins or whatever position he played.
He can do drama, but the guy can't catch a ground ball to save his fucking life.
Just refuses to take a strike, swings at everything, but also incredible writer.
His first acting gig was in 82 in 3 episodes of Saint Elsewhere as a domestic terrorist named Andrew. Between 83 and 85, he appeared in 7 different TV shows, including Love Boat and Hill Street Blues. It's just getting to work. His agent's getting him work wherever he can.
Yeah.
1 episode here, 3 episodes there, that kind of thing. And then he joined the likes of Helen Hunt in 1983's TV movie Quarterback Princess. Plays Marvin, one of the other quarterbacks. And you all will remember very early in the research process, I sent you some film of Tim Robbins as the second string quarterback at 6'5". Any thoughts on that?
Could see with a line.
He's got no time to throw back there, Kyle. It's
porous.
He's so tall. It's just like an absolute giant on the field. And I know 6'5" high school athletes exist, but he's playing like amongst like the people who went to my high school where it was all like 5'7" Italian kids. He looks like a freak out there.
He was the second stringer before Helen Hunt came into the picture as the girl who wanted to play quarterback and eventually took the starting role over. So he became third string at that point.
This movie was made in the 80s?
It was made in 1983.
That's football in the 80s. We seem to have a genetic freak. Let's put him on the bench.
I think the coach saw what kind of trajectory he could have been on, but knew the kind of offensive line he had. And there was no reason to get him hurt. You know what I mean? Let's put the girl back there and let her get destroyed.
Or he was throwing the football with the same motion he was throwing the baseball in Bull Durham.
Yeah.
There were like no chance.
Allegedly 95, but 100% 61. Yeah, for sure. It's not a huge role for him, but I like watching movies like this from like the 80s that are on YouTube. Let's watch Helen Hunt, like her first big movie. It was kind of cool. 1985, he was in The Sure Thing, played Gary. And that's going to take us to first major role. Major might be a loose definition, but we'll see. James is going to tell us all about his role in the 1985 picture Fraternity Vacation, where he plays Larry Mother Trucker, a fraternity film. And who better to talk about it than the guy who spent quite a few years working in that world?
It is a major role because, he is a major character in it. Whether the movie's major is up for debate. Fraternity Vacation came out in 1985. It's got a 34% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, and it just simply doesn't have a critic score. They just could not be bothered to score this movie. I will be the first official critic score of the movie. Okay. As Kyle mentioned, a little background about me. From the moment I hit puberty, I was destined to be a frat bro. When I went to college, I became a frat bro officially, so much so that I was a professional frat bro with Kyle, which I did for a little over 6 years, where I was paid to go around the country and tell other frat bros how to be better versions of a frat bro. So I share this because I feel like I am the podcast expert on how portraying the fraternal experience. That said, the plot of Fraternity Vacation follows a group of said frat bros from Iowa State. They head to Palm Springs for spring break with the singular goal of hooking up with women. That's it. There's no emotional core. There's no real character development, certainly no nuance. And as someone who's an expert in the average frat bro psyche, it's an incredibly accurate portrayal. I would say that pretty much nails about what 90% of the men get into the fraternity experience for. Is this movie good? No. Is it fair? I would say yeah, especially in the 80s. They deserve to be critiqued this way. Robin plays one of the frat bros, and while it's mildly entertaining to see him before, he evolves into such a compelling actor, his presence can't elevate this movie. It's kind of bland. It's incredibly juvenile, as you'd expect, but I was hoping it'd be like juvenile and fun, and unfortunately that didn't happen. You can tell, though, that he is clearly capable of more as an actor here. He's the only actor who doesn't seem like he's saying lines, but is actually the character, which people call acting. But the material here is so thin and uninspired, it's kind of hard to blame him for fading into the scenery, if you will. But let's be clear, Fraternity Vacation is not just dated. It's like aggressively stuck in the worst part of like 80s sex comedies. Looking at girls with binoculars, and you see a lot of boob. A lot of the jokes are like gay panic jokes. Like, don't think we're gay, we're fraternity brothers, which is so funny because like all of those portrayals are incredibly accurate of how straight men act in fraternities, where it is pretty gay behavior, but they don't want to say it's gay behavior because we're straight. I think back then there were better versions of this movie, right, where it was edgy or raunchy fun, but this movie just is like shallow and tone deaf, definitely unfunny. The female characters are tough to watch. They are cardboard cutouts. Here's the hot blonde, which we say is the hottest person in the movie. So here's who they're all competing to sleep with. The script just recycles every cliche from better college movies, except any sense of like wit or any heart that those movies might have. If you're curious about Tim Robbins' early career, please skip this one. There are way better places to start. I'd give it a 20%, and that 20% is because it is a completely accurate portrayal of the fraternal male's mindset.
James, would it surprise you if I said that this movie was directed by James Frowley, who's known for directing the Muppet movie, but this was his last movie?
One, the Muppet movie would surprise me. Two, it being his last movie would not.
Joke's on you, Case. He had been spending his whole career collecting cash to be able to fund this film, and he went out on top. Boom. Gotcha.
Can you imagine a crossover? A Muppet fraternity movie?
They might make that.
That would be something I'd be fascinated in, because if you could mix in like the Muppet wholesome slapstick humor with this, that might actually be something worth watching.
Proud of your service on this one, especially given the quality of said YouTube clip, because it was bad. Following Fraternity Vacation, we have the aforementioned Top Gun that Case talked about, Lieutenant Wells, 1986. First time we've talked about it in 122 episodes.
His code name was Merlin, right?
That's correct.
If I remember right, he's the one that filled in for Goose after Goose's demise, we'll say.
Spoiler.
Who doesn't know Goose died?
What?
All you can see is his eyes in his big scenes. And I remember him saying basically like, "What are you doing?" when they were getting chased. Maverick pulls on the brakes, for what I remember from Merlin.
A big movie early in your career. I think that's probably the thing to note here, right? Like you went from Fraternity Vacation to one of the biggest movies of the 80s. So
yeah.
I did not remember that he was in this movie.
Either did I.
I've seen it so many times. I had no idea.
And I don't think that's a knock on him either. It's just early career, small role, right? Like there's major performances to pay attention to otherwise. Well, you're here for this too, Case, because we're going to talk about lowest critic score, which is Howard the Duck.
Woo! I can't wait for this one.
He plays a character named Phil Blumburtt. This is 1986. This is a Marvel film. Quick, who here has seen Howard the Duck?
Long time ago, but yes.
Only parts of it, because I can't stand the look of the duck.
Okay.
It creeps me out, gives me chills.
It's completely fair.
Kyle, I watched that clip you sent me, and I immediately said, like, should I watch this? And then I was like, no, what are you talking? Why would you ever want to watch this movie? And I was like, nope, not doing it.
That clip is like 2 minutes into the movie.
Like, nope, not watching it.
You sending that clip is what got me to not watch it.
Same.
I was like, I'm gonna watch this. Like a lot of people talk about it. It's got like a huge audience, so maybe it's a thing that like I just missed, and it's like actually kind of good. You sent me that clip, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yep, can't do it.
Kyle, did you watch the whole thing? Because if you did, I feel so bad for you.
I did. I had to take a break because I was like, I just need some time away from my television at this month.
Oh no.
I might start reading full time and give up movies watching this. But for those uninitiated, haven't seen it, the plot is a sarcastic humanoid duck is pulled from his homeworld to Earth, where he must stop an alien invasion with the help of a nerdy scientist and a struggling female rock singer. The nerdy scientist is Tim Robbins. The struggling female rock singer is played by Leah Thompson. The movie has a 28 Metascore on IMDb. It has a 13 critic score on Rotten Tomatoes versus 38 for the audience. So the audience is like it a little bit better. There's quite a legend behind this, as we've talked about. A review I read, they called it Marvel's much maligned mallard, which I thought was a really cute and punny way to put it. It says the original comics were apparently very adult humor oriented, and they toned it down to appeal to younger audiences. And Laura, who has seen clips of it, Case, who has seen it, after seeing duck boobs and some hot tub bathhouse scenes, kid-friendly might be a loose definition. And this movie legit flirts with bestiality.
Kyle, they almost made love, okay? They loved each other.
I was going to say, in that world, I believe it's called procreating.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think the genetics mix well on that one, guys. I don't think it's going to lead to anything, is my point. He's from a different world. I don't know if you know. The DNA is a little different. This is also a movie where my love of captions was helpful because it's really hard to tell what a frickin' duck is saying when it's just going rah, 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 the whole time. So that was helpful for me. This movie bombed so hard at the box office that George Lucas had to start selling off assets. Part of those assets, he had control over a CGI animation at the time. He sold it to Steve Jobs and Apple that eventually became Pixar. So this movie was so bad that George Lucas inevitably lost control of Pixar Animation Studios.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah. There's so much IMDb trivia on this movie. Like, I'm barely going to touch a lot of it.
Kyle, I see on my notes here that this did not win any awards.
It should have won a Razzie, so that's a tragedy in many ways.
To your point, Kyle, there's a website that involves a bunch of numbers and it ranks movies. It's called the Ultimate Movie Ranking website. This puts Howard the Duck at 51 out of 51, being beaten out by Fraternity Vacation by 3 spots at 48.
Nice.
We're really coming into Tim Robbins' career with some highlights right now.
Bottom of the barrel.
Twister Aubrey came in at 45, so we're tracking in the right direction.
What I'm hearing is his career is only going up after this. So speaking of Tim Robbins, he plays the very nerdy scientist named Phil Blumburtt, or Philzy, as Howard affectionately refers to him in the entire film. Philzy, grab that for me. Philzy, do that for me. He's extremely eccentric and most certainly a conspiracy theorist. He's probably the kind of guy who's convinced Bigfoot is real. Like all this AI stuff with Bigfoot, he'd be like, holy shit, gorillas that talk like humans are real. Part of me is actually convinced that his character in this film is inevitably this part of the same universe as the nut job in War of the Worlds, and I don't want to take away from Case's review of that movie later. Minus the missing military background of that guy, they might be the same character, so Case will explore that one later tonight. Maybe they were twins separated at birth. I don't know. So my final thought, 8 different actors, mostly Ed Gale, played Howard the Duck, and they walked so Seth Green could eventually run. as the new Howard the Duck in the Marvel Universe. And I wish I was playing Duck Hunt during watching this so I could just shoot the ducks and save us all from this existing. And I have most certainly not learned the magic of Quack Few, which if you've seen, then you would know that is how a little duck is able to beat up a group of men. And it is not exploitative at all to watch a small little person run around in a duck costume running between people's legs. And my soul hurts that I now have seen Howard the Duck.
I love the fact that this cost him Pixar. That is a terrific fact.
I figured you'd enjoy that.
It was like, I want to be a kid's film, but I also want to make adults laugh and be uncomfortable. And the costume was so creepy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I didn't watch it when it came out. I just saw the clips later.
Typical marketing. It bombed so bad in the United States that then they changed the title to be like Howard the Duck, modern day hero or something like that for international audiences to try to get them to not write it off. It's just a mess.
Was this the case of like people going and saying, hey, this terrible movie is actually awesome, and that's why people like it? This is a trend that I've noticed. I don't understand. Like what you like, no judgment from me. If Howard the Duck is your game, then good for you. I'm glad they made that for you. But like the fact that there's like a wide audience, like they wanted this to be remade.
Really?
I don't get it.
It's not like The Room. The Room I get was bad and everybody loves it because of the story behind it.
Mm-hmm. Part of it's probably source material, Aubrey. So comic fans that liked Howard the Duck on the page and are like, we want to see a better version of this. And they've only got little snippets of Seth Green as Howard the Duck, current Marvel Universe, which have been cool when he's shown up, but like nothing like. So there might be some nostalgia for that.
Well, if we've learned anything over the last 15 years, it's that comic fans do not have good taste in movies.
Well, George Lucas is coming off Star Wars at the time. I think a lot of people were excited to see it. It was new, right? It was something very, very different because I think the comic book version of Howard the Duck was kind of a scumbag, like disheveled duck with like smoking cigars all the time. That probably would have been hilarious, but this was not.
They were doing test showings of this with the production team. And two members of the high-level production team literally got in a fist fight over who greenlit the project. Like, they were like, this is so bad. They didn't want to take credit for the green light, and they got into a fist fight. Two guys. So
I love that.
Yeah, go watch Howard the Duck. You got to experience it once in your life. You got to do it. Make sure you got a therapist lined up after. That's what I suggest. 1987, Five Corners, alongside John Turturro, plays a character named Harry. It's a story where a psychotic young man returns to his old neighborhood after release from prison. He seeks out the woman he previously tried to rape and the man who protected her with twisted ideas of love for her and hate for him. That is quite the synopsis. I don't know if you want to check that one out either, but hey, live your best life. All right, let's turn the tide here. Let's talk about something good. And let's discuss a movie that's probably much higher in that list of 51 Tim Robbins movies. And that is Bull Durham, highest critic score, Nuke Laloosh, alongside Susan Sarandon. So we've talked about this movie before, and Aubrey's going to take it.
This was exciting because this is one of those movies that I needed to cross off my list of shame. I've never seen this movie.
Ooh.
However, this movie came with a fair amount of pressure because I feel like of all of the people on this podcast, I am the least qualified to review this movie because while I love baseball, I am also a White Sox fan, so I have not thought about baseball in a serious way in like 15 years.
Fair.
Bull Durham, which written and directed by Ron Shelton from 1988. It's a minor league baseball club with a hotshot pitcher that's there who has all the potential in the world, but his head, it's not all there mentally. Then you have Susan Sarandon, who is, I don't know if this is a negative or not, but she's essentially a groupie for this minor league baseball team who picks a different player on that team every year to have a relationship with, and it makes them good. Then Kevin Costner is brought in as kind of the old guard, a guy who's been in the minor leagues for a long time at the end of his career to help the hotshot pitcher get to the major leagues. Tim Robbins is the aforementioned hotshot pitcher. The year goes on. Everything that you would expect to happen happens here, right? Susan Sarandon is interested in both of them, kind of. They're both interested in Susan Sarandon. Tim Robbins and Kevin Costner fight, but then they work it out, kind of. Tim Robbins goes to the pros. It's a good movie. I like this movie. I think it's a good time. I enjoyed it. I don't think there's anything like overly groundbreaking in it. It's not something that's like deep thematically or anything like that. It's just a good quality movie with good quality actors in it. I think the way that it portrays baseball and minor league baseball is really interesting. And it does well with that because it's essentially using the situation as kind of comic relief while also like creating some of the only real emotion that I connected to, with the fact that like Kevin Costner has to wrestle with the fact that like his career is ending. The scene on the bus where he explains the time that he was in the major leagues for like 21 days and how everyone on that bus. If you understand, if you watch baseball, and you're a fan of baseball, which I imagine you would be if you watch this movie, there's a level that this movie can get to if you know where it's going. Kevin Costner is great. Susan Sarandon is great. And that's what makes the movie awesome. So I like it a lot because of that. This is a movie I'll watch probably, dozens of more times throughout the course of my life. And this is where things get complicated. Tim Robbins is good. I have no real problem with him. But his performance in this underlines a theme that I found in what I watched from him. He is a good actor, and he does the job that he is there to do. I do not find him overly charismatic, and that takes things away from it for me. And so you have this character who we are introduced to in, I'll say, a grandiose way. And that lets us know kind of who this person is. And there's a level of charisma that I need that person to get to make that character peak interesting. And he's just not interesting to me. What he's going through is interesting. But the character himself, I'm never interested in anything he's doing. I don't find him to be overly funny. He's just, a good version of what that character is. And when you put it up against Kevin Costner and Susan Sarandon, two people that are outrageously charismatic and are really getting after it in this. Like Susan Sarandon is as entertaining as I've ever seen a person be in a movie, in this movie.
Yeah.
It shows a juxtaposition to me. It shows a clear difference. And if for some reason you haven't seen this movie like I have, I can highlight those reasons. More than likely, you are a person my age and you're not white. You should go watch this movie because it's good.
Baseball enthusiasts love this movie.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, like if you disconnect from even the characters, just the baseball dynamics, like that whole him shaking him off and then he tells him the fastball's coming, like baseball players live for moments like that because they're like,
yep,
it's pretty close to understanding the minor league experiences you're going to get in a film.
Yeah.
It's a great baseball movie, but that adds the second layer of a movie like this that you would want because it's not, thematically all that deep. The romance is fine, but it's not anything like overly engaging. You need something else to engage with. And that's something you can engage with. If you like baseball even a little bit, it's impossible to dislike this movie.
I would say I don't think that character should be charismatic. So that's where I'm a little bit different with you on the way I viewed it. He's supposed to be young and stupid and cocky. And I think he played it really well. I almost feel like that part was meant for him. I wonder how much acting he really did because it just seems so natural. The writing is perfection to me. The jokes are so funny. I love the two coaches. The lollygagging line is one of my favorites. And I thought this was one of his best roles.
I really like Tim Robbins in like goofier roles. Like we'll talk about Cadillac Man in a little bit. And like I really like Tim Robbins in roles like that. There's something when he tries to get like deep dramatic, I think he can struggle in some of those. Maybe it's writing, I don't know. But good plug for our Susan Sarandon episode. If folks listening haven't heard it yet, go scope that out because we dig into her career in pretty good depth.
And this movie, too, is where they met and fell in love, before they got together as partners for over 20 years. So that was exciting, too.
It's like you were reading the show notes over here, Laura. I love it. Good work. Because I was going to do it if you didn't.
It's a great movie. People should watch it if you haven't seen it. Kevin Costner rules in this type of movie.
Coming off Bull Durham, another role alongside John Cusack in Tapeheads. He plays Josh, 1988. He and Cusack are like up-and-coming hustlers who are trying to like get into the music video game, and by random happenstance they end up striking gold and becoming like the next big thing in that world, and then uncover a bunch of scandalous and unethical plots in the process. It's super corny. It's very late 80s. Another cool opportunity to see a young Tim Robbins and young John Cusack coming out of the actor gang there in LA doing some projects together. Not the greatest movie in the world, but interesting to watch. Speaking of interesting to watch, Jacob's Ladder, 1990. You got to be in the right mood for Jacob's Ladder. That's not a happy-go-lucky film by any stretch of the imagination. That is a mind bender.
That's a fair point. That is an intense movie.
Saw the movie description and I said, no thanks. I was like, I'm going to watch his other hard movies to watch. Can't do them all.
You're like, I just did Mystic River. I can't do that back to back.
I'm sorry.
You missed out because Jacob's Ladder is one of those movies you have to cross off your list at some point. And for Tim Robbins playing this character who is, I don't want to spoil anything. Now that you haven't seen it, James, I don't want to spoil a damn thing.
I haven't seen it either.
Terrific movie. We got a very young Ving Rhames, too.
Yes, we do.
I'm in.
Yeah, it's like a post-war trauma film where you're not entirely sure what he and the rest of his group encountered while they were there. And it's got these like psychedelic alive or dead situation going on there. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to figure out at first. And it really makes you think, what the heck's going on here? You know, and then when you find out the end, you're like, whoa.
How is he in this?
His naivete, I think, lends really well to this role. It's similar to his character in Mystic River in that he is a broken character who's trying to like be normal, but can't identify the source of his trauma.
Yeah.
Like that's what makes the movie so tragic. He's a very good cast for this.
And this is the first movie he's done where he is carrying the project. I mean, he's Jacob in Jacob's Ladder.
Yep, that's a good point.
He's fantastic. And from a timing standpoint, you know, this movie is almost an homage to some of the Vietnam films that came out in the late 70s and early 80s, because that's the war that he's recovering from. And it's a really cool story. I kept asking my friend as we were watching it, okay, what do you think is happening? And she had no idea what was going on. And it takes you for a wild ride, and it's a good movie.
Something to check out if you want early Tim Robbins.
I think some of it's based on some truth of what happened in some of the military situations.
Yes. And we get to see a very young George Costanza. That's exciting.
Also 1990, the film that Christina said was her favorite movie that she watched, and she did watch Shawshank Redemption, and that was Cadillac Man from 1990 alongside Robin Williams. Robin Williams plays the used car salesman. Tim Robbins plays the husband of a woman who has been sleeping with at least one of employees at said used car lot, and he comes in ready to shoot up the place. And so the first half of the film is all about like Robin Williams' life and how insane it is and how stressful his world is. And then it turns into a heist film in the second half where Tim Robbins is just like a goofy, completely out of his element guy with a machine gun who's holding this down. And so if you love Robin Williams and you enjoy Tim Robbins in that like goofy type of role, it's pretty good.
I'd only seen parts of it, and I forgot that the parts that I saw of it were, is it Lori Petty is the one who hooks up with Robin Williams, or are they dating in this movie?
There's 3 women in the Robin Williams picture, and she is one of them. She's her own designer, so she's wearing the most like eccentric outfits of all time.
I believe it was one of their like kind of not sexual, but kind of sexual scenes, and I was just like, what am I watching? That's when I was a young boy, and so I had not ever seen the actual full movie.
The first half of the film, they set up how he's got a lot of issues with his ex-wife and the 2 women he's dating. They don't know about each other. And boy, do they learn about each other in the middle of the heist when Tim Robbins is taking over the place.
Might be right in the sweet spot where Robin Williams really started toning down the Robin Williams of it and just acting.
He's asked to do a lot in this movie, whereas Tim Robbins just has to be a goofy guy who's out of his element. Very different vibe. The Player, 1992 Robert Altman film, kind of the first role where he got some awards love. So Golden Globe win, BAFTA nom, and he won Best Actor at the Cannes Film Festival.
Never seen this movie before, and I liked it. I was fully ready to dislike it based on nothing other than the picture of the movie when I went online to rent it and the overall vibes as it started. I was like, oh, I'm going to hate this movie. And I have that problem with a lot of movies from this time period because as I watched it, I actually enjoyed it. It's like a murder mystery where the murder isn't the mystery, I guess is how I would describe it. You watch the murder get committed and then the mystery unfolds after the fact. I thought he was good as the like wannabe hotshot producer who's like all talk, if you will, and then kind of shoots himself in the foot. But yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Laura, is this film received well within the industry?
It is. Hollywood loves movies about Hollywood.
Of course.
So when this first came out, everybody went crazy. They loved it. I saw it in the theater. I know it was amazing.
Yeah, Rigby would tell you this movie is amazing because he's mentioned it before and how much he loves this movie.
Yeah.
This was the first watch for me, and I think it was my first Robert Altman movie.
Oh, okay.
Which is one of the reasons why I would kind of set it aside to make sure that I watched it. I like it also. I think I would like it more if I could fully get into all of the things that they're kind of satirizing and making fun of.
Yeah.
Because I don't know as many people or those type of things. I was in when the movie opens by referencing a movie that had like a 6.5 minute oneer. Like I was in on that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Like we're literally watching a scene from outside and it just doesn't look great. And I'm just like, okay, I'm here for this. It's a really good movie. If you like those type of things, not just making a movie about Hollywood, but making fun of Hollywood, I think it's something you'll like. I think Tim Robbins is good in it. This is one of those movies that pointed to the trend that I was referencing that is going to be really hard for me to navigate because it's going to sound negative the entire time, but I don't mean it as a negative. It's more of an observation. I think he's good. I don't find him all that entertaining, like engaging. So I'm not like fully into what it is that he's doing, even though he's doing good work. And it's just a hard thing to explain, but it's just while I'm watching it and I'm like, he's doing a good job. Like, I like this. He's funny at times, but I couldn't go all the way there with him.
You're on the Chris Pine hangover where the guy had immense amounts of charisma. And then anybody like Tim Robbins just not at that level, right? He does a really good job playing the characters that are written for him.
He does. I think that could be part of it. I just also think it's something that I don't think about a ton, like kind of parsing through the levels of charisma in actors, because a lot of times when you're talking about charismatic actors or how engaging they are, just the it factor or any of those type of things, you're talking about it at a really high level. You're never kind of talking about someone that's like just like kind of right there. I think that's part of what it is. A lot of movies also have him across from someone that is super charismatic. He's really good. I don't want it to sound negative. He's really good. I had a hard time really engaging fully with everything he was doing.
I love Fred Ward's bit, how he would be constantly telling people how good other movies used to be. It's hilarious.
Eternal curmudgeon.
Yes.
The player's really good because it's just a really good, well-written, well-structured, well-acted movie. And so you can engage with it in that way, even if you miss some stuff.
All right, well, let's jump to his first odyssey into the director's chair and screenwriter and Bob Roberts. 92, got a Golden Globe nom. We talked about it earlier in Jack Black's first role. Political satire.
I really wanted to watch this, and I didn't get a chance.
This is the one big one I didn't get around to watching 2Ks.
When this movie came out, it's political satire. Obviously, Tim Robbins is not one to bite his tongue when it comes to his political beliefs, so he hosted SNL as part of the kind of run out of this movie. And during his monologue, he had a ton of incredibly biting comments about GE and about how they were creating bombs and how they're just kind of given a pass as a company because they create our dishwashers, but they're also, like killing people. And he was positioning it because of this movie's political satire, but also he's portrayed this character on Saturday Night Live. It was picked up by no news the next day because the musical guest that week was Sinead O'Connor.
Oh my gosh.
Who ripped up a picture of the Pope on TV. And so he was like, well, I tried to make a point, but someone made a bigger point and no one heard mine. So what can you do?
Wow.
She ended up being banned for life from Saturday Night Live, and he's been back a couple times.
First work was Giancarlo Esposito, isn't it? We'll have another one coming up here pretty quick.
Yeah, we will. The Hudsucker Proxy, 94, alongside Steve Buscemi, plays Norville. This is a Coen Brothers film.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty scathing critique on capitalism. Has Paul Newman as well. Jennifer Jason Leigh plays a really intriguing character in this movie. This is one that I think has gotten better with each watch. At different film schools, they'll talk a lot about this movie because almost every scene uses a door or a window as a framing device.
Interesting.
From a film nerd standpoint, this movie apparently is something that people get really excited about. He plays the aloof idiot who walks in the door because their CEO commits suicide and they need to replace him so they can diminish the stock and then sell it off after a certain point. So they're like, let's get an idiot to run the company. And it turns out he just draws a circle on a sheet of paper and he's like, this is the next big idea. This is for kids. And it's a company that doesn't do anything with kids. And by the end of the film, you realize he wants to invent the hula hoop and it blows up. Right. And that's the joke the whole time is his circle. And then he invents the Frisbee by the end. So it's a pretty scathing critique on the world of capitalism through the Coen brothers' eyes. Interesting film.
He said, too, in an interview that he really struggled to do the scene where he had to spin the hula hoop around him the whole time while he was talking about how great this toy would be and do this big, long speech. He practiced it for so long. And he finally said, I can't do it. I need help. And they put an extra weight in the hoop and that helped him out.
Hula hoop's hard, man. It's not an easy thing. He's a lead again. But the big one there, Shawshank Redemption, 94, got a SAG nom. Andy Dufresne, #1 rated movie on IMDb, and for good reason.
Great movie.
I'd actually never heard of it before. Can you guys tell me about it?
You ever seen Drop Dead Gorgeous? This is the sequel to that.
Oh, so. Cool.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
Welcome. Yeah, this movie was a bomb in the box office. It only got big after it hit VHS and people, and then they put it on TBS every 5 seconds. So
Why market something like this?
Yeah.
Without spoiling the entire thing, yeah. Tim Robbins said he knew this movie was going to be great because it was the best script he had ever read, and when you don't have to change anything about a script the first read through, he's like, it just puts all the pressure on everybody else, which is like an easy way for an actor to go into work where it's like, I just need to focus on executing. He's like, we don't have to change anything. My interpretation doesn't matter because he's like, it was perfect the moment I read through it. And I think that comes through. Every beat with Morgan Freeman narrating like hits really well. The story like has so much emotional impact for these characters that you like just meet, but then the background is given and you're like, woof, I'm already feeling emotional. I met this guy 5 minutes ago. I just think it's beautifully done.
Tim Robbins is, I think, a good fit for this role. In his scenes of the most trauma, when he gets like sarcastic and petty. For example, when the sisters are trying to come after him and he says, can you read, you ignorant fuck? Like those line reads are so good. So I think he excels when he's telling off the warden, like when he's doing those things. I think he crushes.
This movie is so well written. And like you said, you fall in love with every single character and you learn their backgrounds and what happens to them. People will come up to him all over the world and they'll say they loved it and it really, really, really touched them. And I think some of it has to do with friendship and helping each other out, but also it's kind of deep, but every person has their own prison, whether it's work or school or a relationship. If you crawl through a tunnel of shit, you can find your Zihuatanejo at the end of it.
Yeah.
He said he was always trying to act like he had a secret. He was brewing on a secret. And I think you see that. You see him thinking a lot. And the scene on the roof when they were tarring with the beer, that is such a classic.
You trust your wife?
Yeah, such a good scene.
Opening weekend was 720,000 and it ended up world grossing 29 million. So yeah, word caught on.
Do you guys know anyone that doesn't like this movie?
No.
Like seriously?
No, I don't.
Seriously? No.
Apparently there's 2%.
Is it you?
No. I love this movie. No hot takes here. This Shawshank is everything that, it's not the greatest movie ever made, which is what someone told me before I had seen it. But it's pretty much everything that everyone had told me that it was. I hold this movie in high regard. I think it's absolutely beautiful. I wouldn't change anything about it. It's amazing. I find it interesting. I don't personally know anyone that doesn't like this movie either. And that's rare.
Yeah.
There's always someone that's just like, yo, Citizen Kane is actually kind of trash when you think about it. And it's just like, all right.
Yeah.
And like now I have a lot of like teenagers that'll come to me and they're just like, yo, have you seen Good Will Hunting? It's amazing. And it's just like I've never heard of it. Kids have hot takes all the time. They hate a lot of the movies that I show them. Shawshank just always kills. Everyone loves it. It's like a unicorn of a movie in that way.
Technically, it's not the best movie ever made, but it's my favorite movie.
I could see that.
Like, and I could watch the thing over and over and over again because
It's definitely in my top 10.
it's not his last departure into the Stephen King verse, which we'll talk about in a little bit too, because he returns to the Shawshank world. All right, before our next review, we got another return to the director's chair, again, screenwriter. Not acting in this one, but Dead Man Walking, Susan Sarandon, 95. He got Oscar and Golden Globe noms for his directing. So this would put him in rare territory for Munsons in 122 episodes, because we'll talk about his Oscar win later, but to also get nominated for directing. That's pretty rare.
I think he's one of the few people who has written a movie that both leads got nominated for Academy Awards. Didn't Susan Sarandon get nominated and Sean Penn?
I think so.
Does not hide from the political beliefs that he shares, obviously.
All right, largest audience gap is Nothing to Lose, plays a character named Nick, 1997. Laura's got those. I'm very excited to see everybody's thoughts on Nothing to Lose.
The critics did not like it. Roger Ebert rated it 2 out of 4 stars. He said it was too much like other buddy films. There were some heartfelt conversations in the movie, but it was trying to be 2 to 3 different things, and it was shapeless. And that the biggest laughs came from the walk-on characters instead of the leads. And it's a textbook example of an idiot plot. And then Gene Siskel also didn't like it, and he said it was mildly entertaining, but clearly a money grab for Tim and Martin Lawrence. But then when you read all the reviews of the audience that loves it, they rated it 4.6 out of 5 stars. And they think it's so funny, it's adventurous. It kind of teaches a lesson, don't judge a book by its cover. It's a very heartfelt story, and it's silly. So, the people who love this film really love this film. It was $25 million to make. It was number 4 in the North American box office earning the first weekend, and it earned over $64 million worldwide.
Yep.
So the plot is a California advertising executive played by Tim named Nick thinks his life's going well, and they show him in a nice house and a great job, and he's got a beautiful wife, Kelly Preston. She had a pretty boring part, and he thinks she's having an affair with his boss, who's played by Michael McKean. I have to give Michael a shout out. I did work with him on the movie Beautiful, Minnie Driver's movie, and he was so smart and so nice and so funny. Like, he was amazing to meet in person and work with. But in this movie, he had a much smaller part. So, he did good with what he had, but he kind of played an arrogant, braggy boss who had this giant sculpture of a fertility god.
Art collector.
Yeah. When Nick thinks his wife is having an affair with his boss, he has a nervous breakdown and he drives around, and then he gets carjacked by Martin Lawrence's character, who's T-Paul, and he attempts to rob him. And then he says, well, you sure picked the wrong guy. All this lost me. I was like, it's too cartoonish. The acting didn't seem real. It all just seemed kind of fake. And then Nick kidnaps T-Paul and they go to Arizona. T-Paul robs the gas station and they decide to rob Nick's boss. So there's another set of robbers that look like them. Where I started to turn my thoughts the other way was there's this one scene, promise me you're going to Google it. Google Spider Scatman scene, Nothing to Lose.
Yes.
I lost my mind laughing.
I'm a scat man.
Yeah, he gets out and he starts scatting, and then he dances and his shoes catch fire. I think this was more the director and the writer, but the acting felt like they were cartoon characters, and they were told to act like you just got hit on the head with a frying pan. I would give it a C+ as a movie. I thought his acting was around that range too, a C+. But honestly, when I've ever been an actor in movies where they've said, act like a cartoon character, it's so hard to do that because you have to fully commit. And if you don't, then it just comes across sad. And, it just doesn't look good. It's awkward. The audience can feel it's awkward. The other actor I really liked was John C. McGinley.
Yes.
He was one of the robbers. Oh my God, he had a small role, but he took it so seriously. You could tell he had a whole backstory.
Him and Giancarlo were my favorite part of the movie. Those two together.
Well, I mean, Martin Lawrence is pretty good.
I love Martin.
I think it's not good. I think one of the best parts of the movie is the setup. Like, I think the setup is actually engaging and intriguing and is great for a comedic setup of a movie. Like, I don't think the movie fails because it's like devices are bad. I think the table was set. A good movie could have been made here. I think the performances are what let this down. I think Tim Robbins and Martin Lawrence are not great together. This is the bad version of Martin Lawrence to me. It's not really just Martin Lawrence's fault. This is really a thing you see with comedians that are just kind of let loose in a comedy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you can almost feel it be like, he's going to say this and now you just be funny. And it's like an impossible position. Martin will always find a way to make you laugh eventually. You know, that's good. I thought the Giancarlo Esposito bit was funny. I do have to say the only thing that makes them look like Tim Robbins and Martin Lawrence is that it is a white guy and a black guy. I thought that was hilarious.
Yes.
Just the idea that no one would actually know the difference anyways. Like, oh yeah, they obviously are the same.
No, yeah, 100%.
I don't think the movie's terrible. I watched worse movies in preparation for this. I was disappointed because I expected it to be at least more funny. I think the performances was the issue. It was one of those things. This is another movie that I pointed to. I just didn't find Tim Robbins really interesting or engaging at all. I didn't find anything that he was doing to be really engaging. There is that one scene that is funny. The rest of what it is that he has to do, I just am like, which, I mean, to be fair, I don't find hardly anything Martin do to be interesting or engaging either.
Two things I'll say is, one, Laura, I watched the Spider Scatman scene, and I will agree, with no context other than that scene, it was able to get a laugh out of me. With the song coming in and his shoes setting on fire was like incredibly unexpected and was so stupid. Like, it was funny to me, and I don't even know the plot of the movie. And so I will agree that was hilarious. To go back to what you had mentioned and what Aubrey had mentioned in regards to an idiot plot, Roger Ebert said that about Fraternity Vacation as well, and I had to look up what he meant by that. And he defined idiot plot as a plot that only works if everyone in the movie is an idiot. Otherwise, the movie would be over in 10 minutes. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that the plot is stupid. It means that the people in the movie have to be stupid for everything to work out the way it worked out.
Kind of a Munson plot.
Yeah.
Who would you cast instead if you were the casting director? I'm just curious.
Instead of Tim Robbins?
In the 90s or now? If it's 97, I feel like Chris Tucker is the guy you go with.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that.
I have to think about that, Laura.
In terms of who I would put there, I'd want someone that is like unintentionally funny. Martin Lawrence is the person who's supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
If the movie's not funny, it is, you know, in the way that these things can be, it's his fault.
Yeah.
The other person is just the straight man. I need a convincing straight man that can be unintentionally funny.
Bruce Willis.
Michael Caine.
Yeah, I was thinking Bruce Willis and Eddie Murphy.
That would have been fun.
Maybe Bruce Willis.
The budget goes way up on this.
Yeah. Add a couple zeros.
That's good, though.
All right, we got 7 years before our last review. So first film in there, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, played the president alongside Seth Green and Will Ferrell.
I need to rewatch this movie. It's been a long time.
I'll say this. I rewatched this. I rewatched the first one, and they shockingly hold up.
Really?
Yeah, I was expecting them to not hold up at all. I think the only thing that maybe has aged poorly is they're kind of a victim of their own success, in that the gags that these movies made funny are like tiresome now at this point, but they're from these movies. So you have to like give them that credit.
Yeah.
Because I rewatched it, dude, and some of the jokes are like still hysterical. And I was expecting it to be like, was one of the main jokes of these movies that he's like a sexual predator? Like, am I misremembering this? And then you rewatch it, and is that he's like really horny, but he doesn't cross the line. He's just incredibly horny the whole time. Or like, oh, all right. So it's like he's trying to be smooth, and that's what he's thinking about, but he's not like aggressive and, you know, overbearing where you'd be like, I can't watch this. Like, dude, these movies still hold up.
I almost don't want to go back to them because I'm like, maybe I should just leave it in my nostalgia brain. But if you're saying they hold up,
If the first two do. I didn't get into 3, but the first two do.
that's enough for me.
So not much screen time, if I remember, with Tim Robbins as the president. It might have been 1 or 2 scenes.
He's the one who's doing the bit of when Dr. Evil is negotiating money, and because the value of money has changed so drastically, he like spit takes laughing in his face for the amount of money he's asked for. It's like, yeah, we'll get that to you in like 20 minutes. Like, what are we even doing here?
$1 million.
He's like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, that's right. I remember that now. Okay, 99 Arlington Road alongside Jeff Bridges played Oliver.
I love this movie. He's good. Jeff Bridges is great. He plays his role very well. He's very creepy, but yet, passable as a normal person.
Is he the guy who's suspecting his neighbor, or what role does he play in the film?
Yeah, he's the guy Jeff Bridges thinks is behind
some shady stuff.
Yeah, the terrorist plot.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's the Boy Scout leader, and
I did also want to note when we were talking about Nothing to Lose that Tim Robbins also has played a particular character a bunch of his career of guy whose wife has left him or cheated on him.
Yeah.
like the broken husband character. He's played quite a bit in his career, which is a different archetype than we've seen.
Not in this role, he's not.
Not really one you want to get pigeonholed into.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you also spend the first half of your career, and I guess all the way even up through High Fidelity, but having sex with a bunch of beautiful women in your movies too, I guess you can. You can go both ways on that, I guess.
Well, what a transition to High Fidelity. 2000, the Millennium. He's got some long hair, and that one is a character named Ian.
This is the movie I was most nervous to watch.
Okay.
How do you guys feel about this movie?
It's another John Cusack movie. Stephen Frears. I'm kind of indifferent on it. I've seen it twice now. Another Jack Black movie as well.
Yeah.
I can't stand Jack Black in this movie.
It's not my favorite Jack Black performance. I don't hate the movie. I don't actively love it, though.
This is a movie that I've heard from different people on like podcasts and stuff that I've read that this movie is like a movie that is beloved. They love it. It's great. All this kind of stuff. And it's one of those that fits into a certain category of movie that is an awkward thing for me to catch up on. It's a movie from around this time that was directly targeted at white dudes that I just never watched.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tough one to watch, especially now because it's a long time from then. It's fine.
Yeah. Kind of like the plot device where he's using his, the lists and he's creating basically the mixtapes for all these different things. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm here for that. Second best movie that uses top 5 lists as a plot device that I've seen.
Other than top 5?
Right behind top 5. Which I think is a much better movie. This is watching this movie in 2025 instead of watching it in 2000. It doesn't do its female characters any favors. It's hard to really get on board with it for that.
He plays a real douche in this movie.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, I think he's more or less wasted.
Yeah. I've known Cusack for a long time. He needs somebody to do him a favor. Let me step into this role for a couple scenes.
Yeah, he had like a free weekend.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, can you throw on a wig and some glasses and dress like a hippie and show up to set Friday at 9? Yeah, I got you. I'll be there.
And for that, we won't pay you a ton, but we'll just put in the movie over and over again how great you are at sex. And make you a sex god.
Done.
He's like, all right, I'll be there. Second weekend in August. You got me. Same year, Mission to Mars plays Woody. He's busy during the millennium. What a guy.
I mean, not really. This movie is a disaster. I watched this movie a long time ago. I get it mixed up with another movie that I cannot remember the name of for the life of me. It's a horror movie where they go to Mars and then horror things happen. So I thought this was that, but it's not. This is just a straight drama, thriller type thing where Don Cheadle, hate to be this guy, but the lone black character in this movie gets buried under Mars sand at the beginning of the movie, and you don't see him for an hour and a half.
Does he live? Sounds like he lives.
He does. He does. It's not a horror.
All right.
It's straight thriller, not a horror. So he can make it through this one. It was just weird watching it, and then they just kind of off-screen him for an hour and 10 minutes. It's weird. There's this really interesting scene where it's Tim Robbins floating away into space, and the woman goes out to get him and like detethers and sends like a tether to go get him, and it comes up just short. And I've always remembered that For 25 years, I remembered that one scene vividly because I thought it was an incredible way to play all my expectations. And I was shocked that he didn't get it and he takes off his mask and he dies. This movie's terrible. Don't watch this movie. Out what horror movie I'm talking about and watch that instead.
Is it The Ghosts of Mars, 2001?
Yeah, I think that might be what it is. Who's in that?
Natasha, Ice Cube, Pam Grier.
Ice Cube's in it. Pam Grier's in it. Yeah, go watch this. It's probably not good, but that's what I thought this was.
That's a De Palma movie, too. It's surprising that was bad.
Oh, really? He wins an Oscar, Critics' Choice, Golden Globe, and SAG. Got a BAFTA nom alongside Laura Linney in 2003's Mystic River, plays Dave, and he beat out two other Munsons to win the Oscar that year, and Djimon Hounsou for In America and Ken Watanabe for Last Samurai.
Tallest person to ever win an Oscar.
6'5", baby.
Forever, for the history of the time that the internet exists, the first things we say about Mystic River will be that Tim Robbins is the tallest person to win an Oscar.
Yep. I also forgot this is an Eastwood film.
Yeah.
The typical 1 to 2 takes per scene. You're ready to go and you do your scene and you move on.
And it makes it so much more like heightened, and you have to get it all right in the first 2 takes.
This movie's great. It's emotionally heavy as hell, especially because they let the audience watch in real time the story unfold that the characters don't see unfolding. I think Tim Robbins is fantastic in this role because he plays this victim of abuse who you can't really tell what he's trying to communicate the proper way, and he does it very well, especially when he's up against Sean Penn playing a gangster and Kevin Bacon playing like a cop, and both of them are like super sharp in their own rights.
Yeah.
And him kind of being this like bumbling, nervous mess. It's essentially the reason the story of the movie works is because he can't fully get across what he's trying to say.
I think the Oscar framing is important for this role because I look at it and I see Sean Penn, right, in that same film who just bodies everything and portrays that I'm committed to a principal character. And then that freaking unreal scene, I think I talked about in the Laura Linney episode, when she comes in and consoles him at the end of the film to talk about weakness and saying we're not weak. It's like real grim.
She plays the gangster's wife so well because we're like,
yeah,
she projects that she's Susie Homemaker, and then behind closed doors, it's like she's hyping him up to be okay with murdering people. All right.
I've seen In America with Djimon Hounsou, and it's an incredibly nuanced performance on his part. And Ken Watanabe in Last Samurai, I think, is phenomenal. I don't think I would pick Tim Robbins to win the Oscar over either one of those individuals in hindsight.
If I remember correctly, I think a lot of people thought Watanabe was going to win.
Was it a makeup Oscar for not getting anything in for Shawshank?
Well, that does happen.
Should have got it for Austin Powers, best supporting character. I mean, that's important. I don't know. This is the last movie I watched with him, and I was like, I'm intentionally going to not watch anything after this because I want to rewatch the Oscar performance. I get it. Maybe I'm just comparing with Sean Penn in the same film, and that's just not fair for him.
I hear what you're saying. I know he's also really respected in Hollywood because he's kind of stood up to a lot of things that aren't great. When we went on strike, he was trying to also say, well, the crew members shouldn't have to work 12 to 16-hour days. So I think part of it was that too.
The film was incredible, so it's easy enough to let's bring the actors along with us.
It's a tricky one. I haven't seen any of the other movies that got nominated for that category that year, so I don't know. I will say this is the first time I watched this movie. I absolutely love it. I don't really know how I feel about the very end, but I love the movie a lot. I think he gives the 4th best performance in the movie. Mm-hmm. You might even be able to negotiate that down. I think he's great. I don't say that in a super negative way. I think this is one of the best movies I've seen Kevin Bacon do. Kevin Bacon kills in this. And obviously Sean Penn kills, and I think Marcia Gay Harden goes so hard in this movie.
Yep.
I just love it all, and I think Tim Robbins is very, very, very good in it.
And then the symbolism of them writing their name in the cement, and he never got to finish writing his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Eastwood's got some good films. That's the other reminder. He's directed some pretty good pictures over the years.
He was in his bag on that one.
Let's get to our last review, which is largest critic app. It's not one scene, but it's one segment of the film with Robbins as Harlan in 2005's War of the World alongside Dakota Fanning. Case, what you got?
War of the Worlds is a 2005 remake of the 1953 film, and both were based on the iconic 1898 novel by H.G. Wells of the same name. Coincidentally, July 30th, a new War of the Worlds is being released on Amazon starring Ice Cube.
Oh, really? I had no clue.
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
For those that don't know, H.G. Wells' story, War of the Worlds, literally the OG aliens coming to take over the Earth story that we've seen played out 1,000 times. This film is directed by Spielberg and stars Tom Cruise and former Munson, Dakota Fanning, and tonight's star of the show, Tim Robbins. The film was well received by critics and earned Academy Awards for visual effects, sound mixing, and sound editing, but it was not received very well by fans. As far as Tim Robbins goes, he shows up in the middle act for about 20 minutes, but oh, is it an intense 20 minutes. He plays a character named Harlan Ogilvy, who's determined to not go down without a fight. In the words of Cypress Hill, he ain't going out like that. He ain't going out.
Love it.
Harlan is on a one-way trip to a meltdown, and Ray, played by Tom Cruise, is forced to do the unthinkable and kill Harlan in order to save he and Dakota Fanning's lives. I found this to be a great part of the movie. Really, he's probably only the third character that we get any sort of character arc, maybe fourth. You've got Tom Cruise, Dakota Fanning are clearly who this story is about. And then the son is in there, but I really felt like Tim Robbins had one of the most outlined character arcs of the whole movie. It highlighted the direction that Spielberg took to tell this story. And I think this is where fans got lost in this one. First, a lot of the fighting and action takes place away from the screen. And as a viewer, you're forced to use theater of the mind. Well, in the conflict between Tom Cruise and Tim Robbins' character, we see Tom Cruise walk into this room and we hear them fight. And when he comes out, we know that he killed Tim Robbins' character. Second, Cruise is considered the quote-unquote hero of the film, but most of the action in this movie, he's running away from fighting. He's trying to escape. He's trying to do everything he can do to not have to fight. His son is actually always arguing with him and fighting with him about not doing anything. And as it would later turn out, Harlan does the same thing, and he attacks Tom Cruise for the same reason. And it's certainly not a normal hero, we're accustomed to in Hollywood, and especially with Spielberg. But it was certainly a different direction that he took for this. And I think that's one of the areas that he lost audiences in. But I thought Tim Robbins was terrific in this role. He plays almost like a survivalist, like you said earlier, Kyle.
Conspiracy theorist.
Survivalist, conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
He is on a one-way street to a meltdown, and Tom Cruise is there for it. I mean, just even the way that he gets Tom Cruise's attention, he's standing in the cellar holding a shotgun up with one arm, and Tom Cruise sees him and they run over to take shelter there. He's really good in this movie, and I thought the 20 minutes that he was in it was certainly worth paying attention to.
My point about Phil Blumburtt might be the same character as Harlan Ogilvy. That's not a real name. That's a fake name that you create when you're trying to hide your identity because ducks from other universes are coming after you and shit. You go into hide. Yeah. Think about it. The guy had an experience with a talking duck in the 80s. He can't tell people that. They're going to put him in an institution. So you go into your little hiding, get on the internet, you start thinking the world's coming to an end. It makes sense. I think there's a story there.
And it could have been a little inside joke between Spielberg and Lucas. They'd be like, hey, I'm going to take him and I'm going to give him a different name. But yeah, he's my guy.
Right.
So it was fun. Yeah, I mean, you guys know me. I'm a real shill for the critics. And so obviously I'm lining up with them. I'm team critic most of the time, all the time.
76-42 is the split.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty accurate with me. I'd be at a mid-70s.
I rewatched this and I agree with you, Case. I think it's unnecessarily hated on. Rewatching it, it is visually stunning.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of thought that went into each frame of this movie. Like you said, a lot of the action happens away from the characters, but it's done in the distance where you see it. It's just, it's coming towards them. It's not like they're in the mix already. It's just hey, it's over that mountain and we're watching people get wiped out by aliens, but it's in the distance. And I think it's very cool how it is shot. Part of the problems with this movie is that you're used to seeing Tom Cruise as the good guy hero. He's kind of a shithead in this movie.
Yes.
He's the hero, but he's like a shitty dad. He's kind of a dick. He's a hard guy to root for. And I think a lot of people can wrap their arms around that character. The other flaw I have is it's all tied up with a happy ending at the end, where it was pretty clear that his son should be absolutely wiped out and didn't just magically make it to Boston. But the part of the movie that immediately like makes you come to grips with the I fully agree with the steps that this character has to take is the Tim Robbins scene, where Tom Cruise is essentially like, why did you even invite me and my daughter here when you're like on a suicide mission? Like, why did you do this? And Tim Robbins, in his craziness, essentially is just like, well, I'm not going to just let them take me and kill me. So are you going to do that? Because if that's what you want to do, he's like essentially calling him like a pussy right to his face.
Yeah.
And that's when Tom Cruise is like,
Boston accent.
yeah, he's like, I'm going to put my daughter in the other room. We're going to do this right now. Like, because you clearly are trying to get killed. And it's the only time where you see someone kind of, they never really assert their size on Tom Cruise in movies. And it's the one time where it's kind of like, that guy is 6'5", and they're not going to let me know how tall Tom Cruise is, but I know he's not 6'5". And it's like, ooh, are you going to pick a fight with this dude? Because I don't know if you'll win. I agree. I'm on the critic side.
And going full circle, the last time those two were together, they were in a cockpit in Top Gun.
Yeah, you didn't listen to me then. You're not listening to me now.
But I thought Tim was very creepy. I wasn't sure I was buying the accent.
Agreed.
But I thought he did a good job for, again, what he had. I thought the movie was interesting, great special effects. I would give the movie a B and his acting like a C+, B-.
Love that.
I think the movie's great. Tim Robbins does a fine job in that role. It's a great, memorable scene. I don't think I would have picked out that it was Tim Robbins before I rewatched it. I just remember the guy and the archetype of the guy. I also think it's like a weird rite of passage in Hollywood that like if you're an older actor that's been successful, you have to play like a crazy person in an apocalypse at some point in time. I love this movie so much that by the time the end happens, and that ending is usually the type of thing that I hate, I'm still reeling from what was happening before that.
So 2005 to present. So we'll hit some of the big stuff. He's got a lot more in this time frame, but these are probably the biggest ones of the last 2 decades. First and foremost, he plays David Owen in Noise from 2007.
Yeah, Noise is a pretty interesting movie. It's almost like an independent film. The writer-director of this movie was so sick of all the noise and the car alarms and all just the noise pollution.
Oh, I remember this movie.
Of New York City that he created a fake superhero, and that was the character Tim Robbins played. I think he was called the Rectifier. So if your car alarm was going off, he would break into your car and destroy your car alarm. Very interesting movie. Yeah, it's probably as close as he's done it at this point to an indie project.
We talked about this on the William Hurt episode. You mentioned this as well.
He loses his mind. It's hilarious.
You will be excited for Tim Robbins that he got his Hollywood Walk of Fame star in 2008. You'll be sad to hear that he was 5 years after David Spade.
Of course.
2003. Post Joe Dirt, David Spade got his. Green Lantern, 2011. Senator Hammond to the comic book movie side, huh?
I rewatched this because I was like, you know what? This movie isn't the worst movie ever made. It just can't be. I've seen worse movies. I'm like, so let me watch it, and I bet you that I'll probably like it. I turned it off after 30 minutes. It's atrocious. It is as bad as I remember.
Angela Bassett's in it. I forgot about that.
I know. First of all, has there been a fictional character that has been portrayed by better actors than that fictional character? Every single time, what is it?
Viola Davis, yep.
And Waller shows up in a movie, it's just like this goddess of a woman that comes down and is in an awful movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's just atrocious. I think, one scene with him. He's not good in it because nobody is good in this movie.
So he plays a bureaucrat. Thank you for your service.
It's really as bad as everyone says. Like, if you haven't seen this and you're like, no, they're hyperbolic about this because everyone's hyperbolic about it. No, it's really as bad as they say it is.
Same year, 2011, plays Bill Loud in Cinema Verity. He got a Golden Globe nom. I watched this for the first time. Interesting movie with him and Diane Lane, and it's based on a true story of basically like the family who created reality television and the documentary team around it in the 70s. First off, Tim Robbins and Diane Lane look exactly like the couple, like spot on casting. And James Gandolfini plays the documentary filmmaker in this story, James, and I know you're a Gandolfini guy.
He's great in it.
Good movie, interesting story, and it really sheds the light on this team creating the reality TV concept. And so like just for like understanding where we're at in society and we have a reality show president, like I think this movie is important just to be able to see the ethical issues behind the scenes of the documentary filmmaker getting involved with the wife romantically while also learning about the husband's infidelity and then filming them while knowing it's tearing them apart.
Well, first of all, Diane Lane is incredible in this movie.
Shocking.
Incredible. The story is told very well. I'm with you, Kyle. This was the first time I'd ever heard of it. I'm really glad I got the chance to watch this.
One of the better movies I watched for this.
And if you want, it was a PBS series called An American Family.
Yep.
The episodes are on YouTube, and I actually watched parts of the real episodes. It lines up with the tone and tenor, the way this story is told.
A very different film in 2014. Plays one of the many reporters who show up at the fight in Anchorman alongside Will Ferrell, Christina Applegate, Steve Carell, Danny Trejo. He is the public broadcasting reporter, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's the one who smokes a pipe the whole time.
That's right.
I don't know if I'll ever rewatch this. I've given it 2 shots. I don't think a third is going to change anything. But you guys have a ball.
Tim Robbins showing up as the NPR host is about as obvious of a casting as you're going to get in Hollywood. So,
Of course.
pretty good considering his political leanings and background. He married Gradiella Brancusi in 2017. They were married for 3 years. I think officially got divorced in 2021, technically, so 4 years later. And then he was in Dark Waters, played Tom, basically the head lawyer of the bigwig firm who decides to prosecute DuPont in this situation.
It's a political process movie that, like, if you're in line with that, you'll like it because it feeds that.
Yeah.
But the process movie part of it isn't super engaging. It reminded me of The Report,
Yeah.
the Adam Driver movie,
Yeah.
where it's like, this movie is interesting, what's happening is important, but the actual process isn't engaging. And like, process movies are hard. I like them. I'll like this movie no matter what, because I like that. I like courtroom movies. I like that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the process just isn't super engaging. And so the movie, it just feels kind of bland.
And it is in a lot of ways, but it also doesn't shock me at all considering where he is politically. And
Oh, yeah.
You see, I'm Team DuPont. You know, they do so much for our economy and they create
Big Jeff
so many
Gordon fan.
jobs. Yeah,
And USA Wrestling.
this is exactly. This is
That's
just
right.
an attack on people who are jealous of the DuPont family and the business. That's
James is an avowed Rainbow Warrior fan of Jeff Gordon. And back in the day, I know, but we got to disconnect ourselves from the DuPont brand, man. Very important.
Oh, man.
I mean, it's probably more accurate about how the procedures actual are. You know, like
Yeah.
you grow up and you watch lawyers on TV and you're like, man, that job looks awesome. And then you hang out with lawyers in real life and it's not awesome at all.
Reading contracts all day.
It's like 5% awesome and 95% mind numbing. And yeah, in this movie, it was a lot of the legal proceedings.
I will say maybe the most chilling ending that I've ever seen, when a movie can end and be like, Teflon is in everything. We all have it in our bodies.
Yeah, it's like, it's too fucking late.
Credits. Wait, what? It's like The Big Short, where he's like, yeah, now he's looking into water. Wait, what? Water?
Timmy goes back to the Shawshank world in Castle Rock as Reginald, 10 episodes, one of the seasons. We talked about this on the Andre Holland episode because Andre Holland is, I think, in the other season of the show. Good show.
Mm-hmm.
If you love Stephen King, it brings together all the different stories of Stephen King all into one central storyline. I didn't see the season with Tim Robbins, so I can't speak to him. But all right, James, you watched 2 full seasons of Silo, so talk to us about his character as Bernard.
Wait. James,
Yes.
Don't talk too much about it because I watched the first season and I liked the first season so much that I bought all of the books and I'm reading them now. So I don't know what happens in the second season. So don't talk about it too much.
Oh,
Won't spoil. What I'll say is the show itself has a really interesting plot line. As Aubrey had mentioned, it's based off of a book. The people involved in the story have no idea what year it is. All they know is that they live in a silo underground. They don't know why they're there. They don't know why they can't go outside. They don't know who built this silo.
Oh.
All they do know is that anytime anyone goes outside, they die. And there's a window outside, and so you get to watch people try to go outside and make it like 50 feet before they die.
You see the deaths. You see the deaths. It's not implied. It's not like The Village. Okay.
Yeah, that face that Kyle just made. Yeah, this show's good, man.
You see the deaths, like, and one of the things they're asked to do, it's like you can go outside, but if you go outside, you can't come back in. And the only thing we ask you to do is to clean the camera so that we can watch outside. It's like your last gift to humanity before you leave, because none of us can clean the camera. And if it gets dirtier and dirtier, we can't see outside anymore. And what the show does in the first season anyway, that's really well, is it's got a crazy cast and it has no problem killing off those characters.
I love that.
Yeah, and you don't know which character is the character that's going to like last forever, right? And so it's just like, whoa, this cast is crazy. And then all of a sudden one of them's dead and you're like, oh shit. Like that's a major actor. That's awesome. What Tim Robbins plays is his character Bernard is the head of the IT department. And if it wasn't Tim Robbins, I bet some of his characters like development would be more shocking to me. But because it is Tim Robbins, the moment he's on screen, I'm like, this dude's sketchy. You got to keep an eye on this fucking guy, even though he's like totally on everyone's side. And his character becomes like one of the more nuanced ones where you think he's good, then you think he's bad. Then they give you kind of the background on like, what are the decisions you would make if you were in his position? And I think he does it well, where it's I'm doing what I think's best, and maybe what I think is best is not what everyone else agrees with. And he does it really well. Obviously, the main star of the show is Rebecca Ferguson, who I think is incredible.
yeah.
Love her.
And in this, she plays like a loner kind of hard ass who's engineer. And so she's super mechanically savvy, which is really beneficial when everyone's locked inside forever, you know? And so she's the one who fixes the engines and whatnot.
Show's awesome.
I mean, he hasn't done a lot of TV in his career either, by the way. Like, mostly films. He did The Brink in 2015, 10 eps, and then Here and Now in 2018, 10 eps. So he's starting to enter with Castle Rock and Silo into the TV world away from film a little bit.
He's good in this. I like his performance a lot in this.
Yeah.
It was ironically the first thing I thought of when I found out we were doing this. I was like, ooh, Silo. I think this show is awesome. It's something that I would recommend kind of like across the board to someone.
Yeah.
This would be one of the first things that people come to me and they're like, hey, what show should I watch? I would recommend this. Also, the books are great. But if you watch the show, they literally, from what I've read so far from the first book, they literally adapted it basically page by page.
No kidding.
It is exactly the same so far. For the Silo heads out there, I don't know. I'm only like a quarter of the way through the first book.
Yeah.
Well, you guys sold me on it. And the showrunner on this is Graham Yost, and he's done some really cool projects. I'm going to definitely check this out.
I caught a couple episodes of it, and it was just so intriguing. The one I caught, I hope it's not a spoiler, was where they were saying, like, do certain motions when you're out of the silo to this for one or that for two, you know, to convey what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just was so intriguing. I wanted to keep watching.
James, you sold me. If Christian and I dig into a new show, this probably will be the one.
Yeah, and what Laura just mentioned, not a spoiler, that's the first episode. Someone goes outside and is like, hey, if it's what I think it is, I'm going to do this hand signal so you know I'm telling the truth. Because in your mind, like, that's a great idea. I would do the same fucking thing. Be like, I'll never see you again, but you'll know what I'm seeing out here.
All right, we've reached the mountaintop case. It sounds like you have a list of 51, and you're going to give us the top 5, top 10? I don't know.
That list is actually more of a mathematical listing, but I went to an old favorite of ours, Gold Derby, Tim Robbins movies, 10 greatest ranked, and it came out in October of 2024, so very recent, and they are all movies.
I wonder why they made this list. Like, what was happening in October of 2024 for Gold Derby to be like, let's just pump out a Tim Robbins list?
I don't know.
Maybe the wheel decided for them, Aubrey. It's very possible.
Big silo heads over there. So you told him to do it then?
I wish I had that kind of power. You'd love if I had that kind of power. Case, I'll get it started. Shawshank, number 1. Put it on the board. Yeah.
Shawshank is number 3.
Number 3. The Player.
The Player is number 1.
Bull Durham.
That's going to be my next one.
Bull Durham is number 5.
Oh, that would.
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds sneaks in at number 10.
Oh, Mystic Rivers 2 then.
Mystic River is number 2. You guys are crushing it.
Howard the Duck.
I'm going to act like I didn't hear that so we can keep our streak alive.
Don't make me break out any quack few on you, because you're going down, sir.
Okay, Mission to Mars.
I didn't hear what you said either, Aubrey, but we've talked about every movie on here at relatively good length, except for one of them. We didn't talk at all about it.
Nothing to lose.
Nah, not a chance.
Nothing to Lose is not on the list.
Arlington Road is on the list.
Arlington Road is not on the list.
Wow.
Jungle Fever.
Jungle Fever, that's a good call, which wasn't on there, but it is not on the list.
Ooh. Jacob's Ladder.
Jacob's Ladder is number 8.
Bob Roberts.
Bob Roberts is number 6.
Damn, I should have watched.
Yeah, I'm bummed I didn't watch that.
High Fidelity.
High Fidelity comes in at number 7.
I knew it.
Let's see how the list feels about 6'5" backup quarterbacks. Give me the quarterback princess.
Quarterback Princess is just above Fraternity Vacation, or whatever the movie James reviewed was. We talked about this one a little bit. It did have another Munson in it. And then, like I said, the other one we hadn't talked about at all.
Is it the Hudsucker Proxy?
It is the Hudsucker Proxy. It's number 9.
There you go.
So the one movie that we didn't talk about comes in at number 4.
Oh, wow. A top fiver?
Top fiver. The final movie that we did not talk about that comes in at number 4 is called Shortcuts. And if I go back to the other list, because we don't normally get the ultimate movie rankings when we do artists, according to this website, it takes in consideration adjusted box office, adjusted world box office, review percentages, Oscar noms and wins, and it comes up with a final score. According to that formula, the top 5 movies for him is Mystic Rivers at 1, War of the Worlds is 2, Bull Durham is 3, Shawshank is 4, and Dead Man Walking is 5.
Pretty good top 5.
That's a pretty good top 5.
Good research as always, Case.
You bet.
Munson Meter, let's do this. What we do, we rank every actor on a scale of 0 to 100. Could include anything from longevity, project choice, pop culture impact, their acting range, their awards footprint, any other talents it might have, personal life, comedic chops, box office success, and anything else that matters to us as Munsons, however arbitrary it might be. I get the honor going first this time, since Case has carried that load the last couple of episodes. I really like Tim Robbins. I honestly wish we had more time. I would have watched probably another handful of his movies. I don't know if it would have changed my score at all, but I just like a lot of the stuff he's in. I like his project choice. He plays the lead role in my favorite movie of all time, in Shawshank Redemption. That's worth something that's worth a couple points in my book, right? Anybody who's in that movie, that's a Munson Hickman bump. I came to a realization the reason he's so convincing as a husband with marital problems is because every time he played a character who was supposed to have because every time he was supposed to play a character who has a romantic connection, it was painfully awkward. I just don't think he can do the romantic co-lead, and that's why I haven't really seen him in rom-coms and things like that. So I don't know if there's just a connection there, but from a range standpoint, really it's not in his bag. But to my point earlier, what's in his bag is delivering sarcastic lines, moments of trauma, being the goofball, and then just being a steady, reliable guy who can show up to a set and lead your film. He's shown that over and over again. Few actors have done what he's done, which is building a successful career in front of the camera and behind it, right? You guys hear me talk about how much I love Emma Thompson because she's one of the only actors, I think the only actress ever that's won an Oscar for acting and writing. And so for him being nominated for an Oscar for directing and winning an Oscar, it's a big accomplishment. It's going to win him some points. But I just don't think he has the range that some other actors might have. He doesn't have the same charisma. And so that's not going to push him up into that 85 and up, 90 territory. But given everything else he's done, his political beliefs, how his no fucks given approach to what people think of him. I feel like an 81 is a really solid number for Tim Robbins. Let's go to James.
Well, I am right there with you. I was hoping you didn't pick my score because I think a couple weeks in a row you and I have had the same score, and I was glad we were a little different. So Robinson's carved out a unique space in Hollywood. He's thoughtful, politically engaged, but what you said, versatile. To have the awards or the award nomination or recognition for being an actor, director, and a writer goes a long way. Shawshank Redemption and Mystic River are incredibly powerful performances. I was pleasantly surprised by The Player. I'd never seen it before. Where he kind of works the best is kind of like a intellectual presence, quirkiness to him. I've seen him blend that with like an emotional depth. I really like those roles for him. He also deserves a lot of respect for behind the camera. I mean, Dead Man Walking is a death penalty drama that got multiple Oscar nominations. That's not really a normal thing that happens. He consistently chooses roles that have meaning to him. He kind of prioritizes the substance over maybe mass appeal. I don't know how much of that is by choice or by what is now offered to him, but I do respect that. His career obviously includes misfires. I mean, when he first started, Fraternity Vacation is absurd, and some of the comedies aren't great by any measure. He's also been in a couple of less high-profile projects in the last couple of years, but I thought Silo was awesome. Overall, though, I think he's principled and compelling. Usually smart and serious in his roles, and why not every project hits the mark. I think his body of work reflects like a clear artistic voice that sets him apart from many of his peers. I gave him a 78.
Right. Laura, our guest Munson.
I was kind of impressed by the theater background, starting theater at 12. It said he co-founded that theater group, the Actors Gang, and he's been doing it for over 30 years, maybe even 40 years. They've done over 200 productions across 5 continents, and that it was really kind of like artistic. I would almost call it guerrilla theater, where you're just dropping the background somewhere and then acting. They said at one point they even had a homeless person join the show and they had to dance them off stage. I like that. One interview, he was a little transparent. He was saying when he was starting out, he was real rebellious and he was kind of goofing off at commercial auditions. And when he got his SAG card at St. Elsewhere, he showed up late, like his second or third day. That really did not sit well with me as an actor, because you try so hard to get these auditions, and to hear that that's what happened, that did not sit well with me. I do think he's an amazing drama actor. I think he does drama a little better than comedy.
Yeah.
I think he's very deep and mesmerizing sometimes, his eyes, especially his facial expressions. But when I compare him to someone like Michelle Williams, where you guys were saying he wasn't as charismatic, for me, he wasn't as multi-dimensional. Like you see a piece of glitter and it has all those different sparkles, different colors, like all the different pieces that you would see a Michelle Williams character have. And for me, Tim is more a 2-3 dimensional character. It's a little more flat. It doesn't have as much range. Also, I never really see him like change his look so much and lose himself in a role like a chameleon, like Johnny Depp, somebody like that.
Yeah.
So that kind of worked against him for me. He does do voiceover work. He does sing. He took on a lot of physical roles. I love that tries to make the world a better place. For his philanthropic work, he did the Prison Project, which brings theater workshops to people in prison to help them better express their emotions. He also supports Cinema for Peace, Plastic Pollution Coalition, Right to Play. So I do kind of factor some of that in. And he did win an award, an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. So kind of with all that, I ended up at 79.
All right, Aubrey.
Kyle, you said most of what it was that I was going to say. I think he's a good, solid actor. He's a very good actor. I am impressed with what he's able to bring out, the intensity that he can kind of bring. There is an emotional depth that he does bring. Mystic River is a tremendous performance. Having things like The Player, Mystic River, and Shawshank Redemption at the top of your resume is out of this world.
Yeah.
He is a strong actor. The charisma point that I've been coming back to over and over again is one of engagement, is one of, do you draw me in? Do you command the screen? Do you own this scene? There's a presence that, you know, some actors have and some actors have in higher volumes and higher quantities. He didn't have it in the way that I thought that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
I think he's still a really good actor, though. He's someone that, you know, does his job very, very well. He makes his movies better.
Yep.
He doesn't make his movies worse. Don't see a ton of range. The comedic stuff was rough. I like him a lot. I came out of this a much bigger fan than I did going in. I was very impressed with his work. That led me to an 80.
Pepper in the strike zone here, Bull Durham style. So, Case, what do you got for us? Sink or low?
You guys have pretty much said everything that I had on my mind. The only thing I would tag is I don't think he can take a bad role and make it good, but I think he protects good projects as good as anybody. If he gets a well-written script, I think he protects that project. I think it's a great performance. We've looked at some actors that had poorly written stuff, and we're like, that movie was bad, but he was really good in it. And I just don't see that a lot from Tim Robbins. I was a fan of him coming into this. I'm a bigger fan going out, and I'm going to give him an 80, ironically.
I came away with the highest score?
Yeah.
In what reality does that happen?
I started laughing when you said that. I said, oh, man, maybe I need to change my score.
And you saw Howard the Duck.
I know. If anything, I'm the one who had to deal with that. But, you know, I did see Quarterback Princess, though.
That's a good point.
With that gives Tim Robbins a 79.2, which you guys could have guessed the average there, but considering we were so close in that window. And that puts him in 38th place between Jessica Chastain and Rene Russo.
43rd in the box office, so not too far off.
She's sandwiched between Emily Blunt, Jessica Chastain, Robbins, Rene Russo, and Ken Watanabe, the person he beat out for the Oscar.
Fair score.
Justice for Ken Watanabe.
Aubrey, what has he got coming?
Nothing.
Yep.
He's got nothing because he's probably just living his regular life, you know, or he'll be at some rally or something like that, but he's got nothing going on. He seems like the type that'll end up in something that is like a quick to production type thing.
Yeah.
He might have something next year and he'll hear about it in, you know, November.
I wonder if he has been to the Hall of Fame recently.
He might just be waiting for the Howard the Duck remake.
Now we're talking.
He was talking about a Bull Durham too, and how he imagined he would be like at the conventions, his character signing, you know, memorabilia, and then he kind of comes back somehow, but I don't know if they'll ever make that.
That would be hilarious.
All right, next podcast is going to hit August 28th. We've got Lauren Hopkins Price coming back. She was with us for Maya Rudolph, Elliot Page, Angelina Jolie, Kristen Bell, and Dennis Quaid. We have not done Randy Quaid. We have not said up yours, alien assholes. One day we'll get there to that kook. 5 actors threw onto the wheel. We had Jonah Hill, Diane Ladd, Sam Neill, Harrison Ford, and Kristen Scott Thomas. Quickly, what do we love or hate from that list?
I'm a big Sam Neill.
I don't hate anything.
If we do Harrison Ford, I can assure you I'll have the lowest score.
Really?
Oh, Case, you're anti-Harrison Ford?
No, I'm not anti. I'm just not a big Harrison Ford fan.
What?
I didn't see that coming.
I've talked to this man every few weeks for many years. First time I've heard that.
Now I want Harrison Ford. I feel like we got to break down some.
For real.
I thought for sure you'd be in the bag for Harrison Ford. Oh, man. Because Kurt Russell's way cooler than him, isn't that?
Way cooler. Get off of my plane.
Oh my God, I want it now more than ever.
It stinks.
I mean, I would love that because of you, but Sam Neill's my favorite of this list. I thoroughly enjoy a Sam Neill episode for some Jurassic Park, a little Hunt for the Wilder People.
Yep.
Sam's great.
Event Horizon.
Yep.
Oh, Event Horizon.
Good movie.
And I get to talk about Jurassic Park 3 at length.
Mm-hmm.
I know Diane Ladd is a legend, mother of Laura Dern.
What?
Yeah, it's Laura Dern's mom.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
But like Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, Wild at Heart, Rambling Rose, and then looks like she's doing some like Lifetime stuff these days.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
Diane Ladd is in that weird Jennifer Lawrence movie, Joy.
Yeah, she is. That's true.
Oh, I thought you were going to say she was in the movie with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Be way worse.
I don't know much about Kristen Scott Thomas. I see she was in The English Patient, Random Hearts, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Okay.
She's got some bangers.
I mean, she'd be the one I'm the least excited about, but I'm not angry about it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I get to watch new movies. Jonah Hill, meh.
Yeah.
I'd have to watch a lot of comedies I've been avoiding.
Yes, you would. Superbad.
You've been avoiding Superbad?
I've seen Superbad.
Okay.
I don't talk about it, though.
Because you're on the wrong side of history, because that movie's a classic.
I probably am on that one. That one, I'm fully willing to admit I'm probably on the wrong side. I probably always watched it at a bad time.
Laura, which one would you pick if you were going to come back to back? If we were like emergency help,
Harrison Ford, just to stir the conversation.
stir the case pot.
You can take my spot.
Yeah.
Oh, you even stuck around with the Kevin Spacey episode. If you make it through Spacey, you can make it through anything. You relax.
Yeah,
Don't
I'll be fine.
Case, you and I have done every episode of the show since 20. Don't you bail on me yet?
And Case, I met him on a Sony lot when he was practicing his salute on Air Force One. He looked much skinnier in person, but still amazing to see.
That's not helping the case.
Don't tell me he was a great guy. That'll hurt my case.
I did not get to know him that well, but I love Star Wars, so I have to support Harrison.
Who do we think Lauren would choose from this list based on her background?
Harrison Ford.
It's giving me Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill?
No, when Kyle mentioned those Lifetime movies, I felt a chill go up my spine.
You thought that was really intentional, that I shouldn't know that?
Yeah, it's Diane Ladd, yeah, for sure.
Well, I would love Diane Ladd, but I can't speak to that. Well, you know what? I don't decide. Lauren doesn't decide. Laura doesn't decide. James's Laura doesn't decide. The wheel decides. We'll see what happens. Laura, we've reached the mountaintop. We love having you here. As Aubrey affectionately said, you're our favorite guest. Don't tell everybody else. Any plugs or wise words for our audience before we call it a night?
Actually, I have a little sad plug.
Oh, no.
I just wanted to dedicate this episode to someone who was really close to me who passed away this June. So Chris Uvis, I met him on this set of The Untouchables, and he was long lens cameraman for 30 years. And he was really close to me. We dated on and off for 10 years. And yeah, so I'm really sad for his family. I just wanted to dedicate this episode.
R.I.P.
Yes, rest in peace.
Yep. And thank you for having me on. You guys are all amazing.
And like I said at the beginning of the episode, Laura, I'm just glad my sister will finally listen again. So thank you.
Thanks for having me again. I can't wait to come back.
Well, I've already got the email queued up for you, so it'll hit in about 15 minutes. So be prepared. Well, as always, you can find us on Instagram and Threads, Munsons at the Movies. You can email us, munsonsatthemovies@gmail.com. Any final thoughts from Tim Robbins?
Not so fast, you ingrates! Public news team is taking a break from its punch drive to kick some ass. No commercials, no mercy! Yeah!
Munsons Out.
All right, let's go. Thank you for the education, gentlemen. We've just received a PhD in stupidity. Doctor, shall we?
$100 billion.
Dr. Evil, this is 1969. That amount of money doesn't even exist. That's like saying, I want a bajillion dollars.